Yo, okay, there we go. We got some people coming in. Hello to everybody showing up. It's me, the disembodied voice of your best buddy Basil. We get the show started here in just a little bit. Text messages out. We're letting people join us. Say hi in the chat so I can thank you for being here. Let's get this out of the way. Get this image out of the way. There we go. What's up, everybody? It's a little pre-show. Hello, Caro. We're on the YouTube. Suncoast Cars. What's going on? We are live across the board. Canary Crime News Talk channel, the Face on the Sun channel. Of course, we're here on Rumble. We're going. You survived another week. Survived another week, folks. I think the weekend's got to start a little sooner this week. I think that's the thing. Term says, hi, Canary fam. I actually got the text on time this episode. Well, look at that. That's wonderful. Okie dokie, as usual. You guys know how this is going to go. This is unscripted. We don't have a script for this show. It is a complete mystery, but we're all having faith that God wants to do something here. And remember, it is a call-in show. The show is nothing I say, without people calling in. And it's easy peasy. No matter where you're watching this, you look down in the description of this video. You'll see the call-in link there. You just click on that or copy paste it into a browser. And it'll ask you a couple questions. You know, you want to give it permission to use your microphone, stuff like that. And then it'll put you back into the waiting room, the green room, as we call it. Maybe the yellow room. And you can watch the show, listen to the show back there. You can even chat with other people in the green room. Then when the time comes, I'll bring you up on stage and we can just talk about whatever, man. Whatever you got to process for the day. Whatever the week is brought up. Doesn't even have to be related to current events, news, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. Just a time for fellowship. The most important thing that we can possibly do or have right now is connection with other people in God's family. So let's make sure to do that. The real McCoy says, no script, I'm out. I know. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. All right. Well, with that, we're going to start the show. Got a whole ton of people in the thing here. Don't have anybody back in the green room yet. We'll see what happens. All right. Lord help us. You know how this is going to go. I'm going to play this little jingle. I'm going to put this graphic up here. This is going to tell Gons to start the podcast version of the show, available on the podcast feed. So here we go. Hold on to your butts, everybody.
Called it. We got a caller. We got a caller on the line here.
What's going on, everybody? It is I, your best buddy Basil, and you are here live or live in the future for Canary Cry Clubhouse. Just an opportunity for us to take a breath, see what God's doing this week. No more headlines, no more nonsense. I mean, look, there could be headlines. I don't know. I'm not in charge of this. And as usual, it's a call-in show. So you got to call in, okay? Don't feel afraid. Don't feel like you need to have some sort of super fancy question or realization or blow anybody's minds, okay, people? This is just about the simple act of fellowshipping with other people around us that we are sharing our faith with, along with surviving the end of the world with. And it's super easy. You'll see down in the description, little call-in link there. You'll notice it says call-in link. You just click on that, or if it doesn't let you click on it, copy it, paste it into a browser window, and that will ask you a couple questions, put you in the back room. Then from there, I'll bring you up on stage to say hello. But you survived another week, folks. This is a good thing. This is a good thing. You know, we don't take that we don't take that seriously enough some days. Some weeks, I'll tell you what, make it through. Just so excited to be over. Kind of zone out. don't think about it until Monday comes back around, and it's time to dive right back in. As usual, not much of a plan for this show, so we're just going to see what God wants to do at the time. But I do want to encourage anybody here to join the Canary Cry text message alert system. All you got to do is text the word Canary to 877-740-3226, and you'll start getting a text from me just before every show during the week. That's about 3 texts a week. And the fun part is you can text the number back. You can say hi. You can send links. You can do whatever you want. I see them all. I read them all. Let's see let's see if any text came in here. It's been an interesting week. Little inside baseball on the podcast. Been an interesting week. Seems like people are pretty busy. Maybe it's just the times that we've been going live. But numbers, not abysmal, certainly noticeable as far as the live is concerned, the live attendance, which, look, I've always said it. I am incredibly impressed that anybody can watch anything live. I think that takes a special gift from God. So God bless you guys. Let's see here. 614 texted in response to the text message today. Of course, the name of this episode is Human Existence Exposed. We're all going to find out together if either some clickbaity nonsense has any effect, or, as we usually do, try to find the secrets hidden by God that kings must seek out about the very nature of existence as God has dictated it to be. So 614 texts and says, wait, so you're saying humans are real? This is a good question. This is a deeper question than I think a lot of people realize or appreciate. Maybe we'll get to that question. I don't know. We've talked about birds not being real. Are humans even real? This might be a central question to Christian theology. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we'll dive in. 859 says, have fun. I'll listen to the podcast when it drops. I'm going hiking. Love you, Canary. Crazy Canary friends. Thank you very much, 859. Love you too. So there you go. Text message is out. Got a couple more people coming in. All right. I guess the Olympics are still going on. On CCNT this week, it was an interesting week because, of course, we had the Olympics. We had the superb owl. It almost felt like the chillest weekend and week of the year. These sort of annualized or biannualized global rituals hitting on the same weekend somehow was chiller and less disturbing than just the regular weeks and weekends since the beginning of the year, and did give us a little bit of familiarity as far as what's going on online. Of course, your mandatory Olympics Exposed, the halftime show. These are just delightful little yearly occurrences that bring a little bit of structure to the February news cycle. But we made it, and we're holding on tight. We're going to enjoy this moment of reflection before things get back to madness this weekend. Just a little update, little emu egg updates. Some people saw I posted, must have been Thursday or Friday of last week. Maybe it was Thursday. I can't remember if I talked about it. I think I did. 7 eggs have been moved. 7 emu eggs are about 55 days into incubation. They have been moved to the hatcher. And so far, none have hatched. Now, when you search for advice online for emu egg hatching, they will all tell you about day 55 is when any emu egg incubator starts to lose their mind, because it can be quiet. It can be all quiet on the Western Front. No pips, no yips, no chirps, no rustling. He's starting to think, oh no, surely something should be happening by now. And for those who catch Clubhouse every week, you'll know last episode, last Thursday, was all about patience, excruciating patience. And folks, let me tell you, I did that episode on patience and how annoying and painful it is, but how bountiful of a practice it can be. And that's when I was expecting eggs to hatch in 3 days. Last Thursday, I was expecting eggs to hatch in the next 3 days. So it made it easy to talk about patience. It has now been 7 days. It's been 7 days and no eggs are hatching. I'm freaking out. But I will say this, I got myself a stethoscope. That's right, I'm getting real hardcore on the emu egg hatching. And for those who are tuning in thinking, why am I listening to this about emu eggs? Just stick around, okay? There's a reason for this. God wants you here. I don't personally know why, but it always works out. So I've now gotten so deep into adopting the identity of an emu egg hatcher man that I've purchased a professional stethoscope. And now I spend some time every day stethoscoping little emu eggs, or big emu eggs, I guess. And I had one moment yesterday of taking the eggs one by one, bringing them into a quiet room, applying my stethoscope, giving the egg just a little tap, just to wake up whatever little baby's in there. And then I speak to her very softly. I say, hello in there. Hello, little emu. Are you in there? And I listen very carefully with my high-power stethoscope. And what am I listening for? Well, apparently to the internet, I'm listening for slight movements, muscle twitches. And depending on how close the egg is to hatching, if it's within 3 days of hatching, it's possible that I might hear a little cheep, cheep, cheep. That means the baby bird has broken into the air sac. It is finished surviving off of the amniotic situation. It has broken into the air sac. It has started breathing air. And it's just a matter of time before it gains the strength to begin the long, hard journey out of the egg. So I have 8 eggs now in the hatcher, and one by one, I carry them from one room into another room, close the door, nice and quiet, stethoscope, like a crazy person. I start talking to the egg. Hey, little guy, is there anybody in there? Tap, tap, tap. Hey there, little guy. Then I wait, and it's silent. Then I do it again, and it's silent. Okay, no action in this egg. Is there anything even alive in there? I have no idea. I'm driving myself crazy. I take it back. I put it in the hatcher. I take another one. Go back. I sit down. Hey, little guy. Silence. Nothing. These eggs are 55 days in. At most, it's supposed to take 60 days, but it should be sooner than that. And I do it again. Nothing. And again. Nothing. And again. And now I'm just doing it just to get through because no signs of hope. And then there was second to last one. I bring it in. Now I'm just going through the motions, okay? Because I can't just do it for the other eggs and not do all the eggs. And I'm sitting here thinking, oh no, is this going to be another one? And I go, hey, little emu, are you in there? Tap, tap, tap. And I put the stethoscope on there. And it's silent. And then I go, hey, little emu. And then I hear the tiniest cheep, 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 cheep. Cheep, 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 cheep. We've done it, folks. We have at least one emu growing in an egg that has broken into the air sac. He is taking it easy. Could be anywhere from 1 day to 5 days. We'll find out. However, we are not out of the woods yet. Because if you do your reading, which I imagine all of you by now have done all of your reading on hatching baby emu eggs, just assuming everybody else has been keeping up with the process, reading up on their literature, on the forums. There's one part, well, there's a lot of advice about what to do. More or less, you are completely out of control. There is nothing that you can do. Emu eggs are incredibly thick. It is very difficult for a baby to break out of them. And it takes a very long time. And they do a lot of sleeping. And there's lots of things that can go wrong. There's one way things can go right. But once a little pip, they call it a pip. They call it a pip, okay? And once they break one little hole in the egg where they can start breathing oxygen from the outside world, it can then take another 5 days. Now, here's the thing. You can be very tempted to try to help a baby emu. You can be very tempted just to do your duty as a human being with thumbs and tools at your disposal to help this baby emu. Perhaps break off some pieces of the egg. Perhaps very gently, surgically set this emu free. But every piece of information that you will read, online and otherwise, says this is the worst possible thing that you can do. And I think, well, if I was a baby emu and I was working my hardest to try to get out, but I'm just a little baby, these shells are multiple millimeters thick, okay? They're sort of the armored personnel carrier of poultry egg. But the worst thing you can do is try to get in there and help the emu get out. Because the struggle is what makes the baby emu survive. I hate this. I am not a fan of this. I do not like this. Because there is way too much truth to be found. Because here's what happens. The baby emu, for like 100 hours, does a little peck, does a little push, pushes against the egg, nothing happens. He gets tired, he falls asleep for like 12 hours. Then he wakes up, does a little push, does a little thing. Maybe nothing happens. He falls asleep for another 12 hours. And he does this, and it's a struggle. It's a struggle for these cute little guys. And the act of helping this little fella out in any way, yes, perhaps you might be able to open up the egg a little bit, loosen the joints, loosen the jar. And you might make it easier for the emu to get out, to be born. You might even be able to sort of surgically remove the emu yourself. But inevitably, and this is supported by every piece of content anybody has ever made about emus, inevitably, the one you help is the one that's going to die. And it could die in a couple days. It could die in a couple weeks. Many sources say if you help an emu get out of the egg, it could survive 3 months before giving up the ghost. And that's because this unfortunate and excruciating effort that this baby little fellow is forced to fight this valiant battle, which he's not guaranteed to win, is what gives the emu its strength. Its neck needs to build up strength for it to hold up its head. Its legs need to build up this strength to be able to hold up its body once it's out. And to give this little baby emu any assistance at all, you might as well be sealing the fate of that little guy. A timer starts, basically. If you get him out, timer starts. It's not going to work. And of course, you know me. I don't like this one bit because perhaps it is a little bit too relevant to our own lives. Patience is one thing. We went over patience. I'm not going to talk about patience anymore, but patience has what should we call it? A cousin, a sister, maybe a parole officer. Patience has a parole officer, and that parole officer's name is effort. And this is part of what being a human is. This might be the entirety of what being a human is effort. Most of us don't like it. It kind of gets in the way. It stands between us and everything. Now, you might think that this runs counter to what we talked about last week with patience. Because sometimes patience is the thing we need. But guess what? Like we all know, like we talked about, patience can be an excruciating effort. In fact, anytime you ask anybody to be patient, they have to strive. They have to effort themselves. I don't know what the verb of effort is, but it takes effort. It requires effort to be patient. If it didn't require effort to be patient, then everybody would be so patient. We wouldn't have so many problems. You dig? So there's a lot to learn about trying to hatch emus. I've put a lot of effort the past 7 days into being patient. And now it is up to those little baby dudes to put in the effort. And there's nothing I can do to help them. In fact, in this case, all of my effort needs to go into being patient, because if I put my effort towards helping break these little emus out of their prisons, then they don't get to put the effort in and they will inevitably die. At least this is what I'm told. So that's a bit of the conundrum that I've been living every day for 7 days since last Thursday. And as always, when it comes to this show, many of you who come back here, listen to this show, watch it live, participate, call in, you'll know that it's kind of amazing how the show can start out with nothing, and then God kind of comes in and uses everybody in conversation to get some real gold, some real life lessons. And as it has always been, when it comes to walking through life with Christ as a believer, having faith in God, many of us have been on this journey for a long time, decades and decades. Many of us are a little bit newer to this. You know, past couple years, we found Christ, we're learning it, we're doing it. And one thing is clear, and one thing I hope, well, one thing I know that the old timers know, and one thing that I pray that the new timers learn quickly, is that every time you think you've figured something out, because God is so big, we can immediately learn the opposite lesson. In fact, that's kind of how the cycle goes. It's kind of how it's been for me. As an example, whenever in my life I think I have come to some new understanding about the human experience, about how God has ordered our steps, about the complications of being a human being, navigating not only the physical world, but also the spiritual realities. Every time you have some big aha moment and everything makes sense, that's just about when the opposite part of the lesson begins. And you learn all the ways that that previous lesson does not apply. or oftentimes the opposite is also true. And you spend enough time seeking God, you'll learn that often seemingly opposite realities are taking place at the same time. And that's kind of part of the fun. That's kind of part of the eternally unknowable mystery about the nature of God. For thousands of years, smarter men than I have been going through the same process and the same cycle, and nobody's quite figured it out yet, although there's some pretty smart guys and gals who've certainly learned these lessons before me. But as far as being the human going through this process, it can feel, let's say, a little frustrating. And we can push back against this. And we can say, no, 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 no. It can't both be true that patience and effort are required. It can't both be true that Jesus was simultaneously 100% man and 100% God. That does not make sense to my puny human squirrel brain. That's kind of the point. It's that back and forth, perhaps, that is the effort required to develop us, to try to break out of this shell of ignorance, this shell of misunderstanding, the shell of separation from the eternal God. The effort does not end, but that's part of the fun. That's kind of where we want to try to get to. It's not easy, and it's not logically sustainable for very long, okay? And we're going to have to revisit the value of human logic over and over and over. Of course, human logic does a lot for us. It's very good. God has given us this human logic. It gives us comfort. It makes us capable of discernment in so many ways. But at the same time, human logic can be a barrier that keeps us away from deeper understanding about our own humanity, about our relationship with God, and about the character of God. So that's what I've been learning this week with the little emu babies. I would say, I remember last Thursday I said, I think we're only about 72 hours away. I think emus are going to be hatching. And here we are 7 days later. No emus are hatching, but I did hear the chirp. So we know that there is something coming. I'm not going to try to put a timeline on it. Not gonna set dates, okay? This isn't 2012. We're not trying to set dates for the coming of Christ. I'm not going to set any more dates for these emus, but I will make sure to let you guys know when it happens. And then we can all rejoice. Okie dokie. We got some people in the call-in room. Gonna start bringing them up, see what's going on. First on the list, we've got the one, the only, Sir Darren, Night of the Hungry Panda. Let's get him up on stage. What's going on, Sir Darren? How are you, buddy?
Hi, Basil.
What's on your mind today?
Lots of things, but one of the funny thing I was thinking about was all this you were mentioning on yesterday's show. You started talking about glitter.
Yeah.
And the glitter bomb
conspiracy
stuff. Yeah, the glitter conspiracy. Apparently, I was also noticing that glitter is really trending this year with like the Olympics.
Very
a lot of the athletes are using what's called, I guess, glitter freckles.
Mm.
And so that was
like a skin condition.
Well, it's like this trend, I guess, that was made popular by the TV show Euphoria.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up Euphoria. Yes.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting, like that this sort of is like a trending thing right now. And then you were bringing up the whole glitter conspiracy. And so I kind of looked into it a little bit, like just the history of glitter and everything. And what's kind of interesting is that, because a lot of people are like, why is this secret? Like, why is this kept secret and everything? And we can't look at how glitter's made and all this stuff. But
Right.
one of the things that they brought up was that glitter, the manufacturing of glitter, is basically involves very precise cutting of
Mhm.
material. And so if you could cut a material very precisely, it wouldn't have to just be for glitter. You could do many different other things.
Right.
And so it's interesting. And it was also interesting that a lot of these companies are located in like New Jersey, and that's like where they have the
Mhm.
New Jersey drone sites. So
Totally.
way back when, I don't remember when that was, but in that,
The end of
it's
last
just,
year.
yeah. So it was just kind of interesting, this whole glitter deal that's going down.
I totally agree. I mean, it's very interesting. And for those who have not yet heard the glitter conspiracy, the long story short is some journalists were, interviewing there's only one factory. I can't remember if it's one factory in the world or one factory in the Western Hemisphere that makes glitter, and all the glitter for every brand of glitter is all made by the same factory in the United States, and it's in New Jersey. That is the one, and it is like guarded by like military level security. And the journalist goes in there, starts interviewing the guy. Uh, First noticed that the guy is really edgy about describing how glitter is made. He refuses to give any examples of who the glitter factory's clients are. And when asked about it, he says, "Well, it's an issue of national security. I can't tell you anything about the glitter." And the journalist says, "Okay, well, I came all the way out here. Can I get a tour of the glitter factory?" And he says, it'll be a cold day in hell before anybody gets to set foot in that glitter factory besides our, national security background checked super scientists. And there's lots of the conspiracy goes deep. What the implication there is that the glitter manufacturing process and everything about it has military grade um, uses. And we, of course, have gone into things like glitter screens, glitter fog clouds used for Project Bluebeam holograms. Of course, there's some glitter type chemical compounds used for things like chemtrails, et cetera, et cetera. So apparently, glitter is like a real issue of, of national security, which does make it interesting. I remember when Euphoria came out, and suddenly this was like the cool hip thing is put glitter under your eyeballs to make it look like you've been crying, or just lots of glitter makeup, things like this. And it's still going strong. I have not seen the Olympic people doing the glitter, but I can't imagine that putting glitter on your face is very healthy. Your skin is very absorbent. That can't possibly. I mean, talk about microplastics. That's just like soaking it right up like a sponge.
That is a funny thing too, because apparently there's a big push for glitter to be made out of things that are biodegradable, because it's not.
No.
And people are worried that it's like harming the environment and all that.
Oh,
But
totally.
yeah, it was I just noticed that it was a very popular thing with the Olympics this year. Of a lot of the female athletes were wearing like the glitter makeup, and specifically almost like the glitter freckles, because um it was like on their cheeks mostly.
Yeah.
And so like this, it's like this sort of trend right now, and it's just an interesting trend that's taking place. And
These
it's,
are
and
important things
so,
to pay attention to, man. It's these things that seem, I don't know, like they're not important or they're just
well,
random acts of culture. They inevitably have some sort of, I don't
so
know, bigger thing
this
going
was the
on.
very funny thing about it. Okay, so this is my little tie-in. Um, so I don't know if you've heard about the Nancy, what is her last name?
Guthrie,
Guthrie. Yeah.
Guthrie.
So Nancy Guthrie, the deal that's going on with that, but they released this video of like the Ring doorbell or whatever it was, and the guy, I noticed that like because it's night vision, it's the guy's reflective stuff is like very bright and shiny.
Right.
And so I commented to someone, I said, the dude should have just put like reflective stuff all over his face, and he would have just been like a shining face.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this was a big thing when we started looking into like how to avoid mass surveillance culture. And
Yes.
there are these, yeah, materials. I don't know if it's exactly glitter, but it's certainly something like glitter that when an infrared camera, which most cameras are infrared, hit it, it just like shines like the sun, like Moses coming down from the mountain. It's just
Yeah.
absolute perfect, like anti-surveillance shroud.
Yes. And part of like what glitter, I guess what makes glitter glitter, as opposed to not just random pieces of stuff,
Hmm.
it's the uniformity of the glitter pieces
Ah,
combined together, causing that refraction. And
right.
so it's kind of like, I'm like, well, wait a second now. So we're seeing like this whole, there's this one story going on with this guy who, he's got this like very shiny reflective stuff in the Nest camera. And then all these athletes are wearing the glitter freckle makeup. And I'm just, it makes me wonder, like, is there, and then to tie in this, the third thing is they're kind of like this push for, ID, like everything is going to be an ID to use, like for voting, or like you mentioned Discord is going to want us to take pictures of our face, and I'm just thinking like, what happens if we all put glitter all over our face, and and we
Totally.
try to do like these ID things? Is like error. It's not.
That is
It
interesting.
There's
Yeah,
something
that's
strange here going on that I'm just like, I'm seeing like the little breadcrumbs of it, but I can't put all the pieces together yet.
no, there's something there. Yeah, if you had some glitter freckles, like when you go and get a new driver's license, they take your new picture. And there's in the past couple of years that they started making you not smile because they're doing facial recognition on the picture you take for your license. I wonder, yeah, if you wore some like glitter freckles to the DMV, if it would just, if not totally scramble like the facial recognition, it would add like different points, like little data points, because you watch the AI facial recognition stuff, and it chooses points on your face, like your nose, your eyebrow, the height of your cheeks, like the tallest height part as it sticks out from your face, and it connects all these dots to like make a map that then they just put the map to check your other pictures or whatever. I wonder if the glitter would like, yeah, give it sort of false data points or something.
Yeah.
um yeah.
And so that made me think back to like, so under COVID, a lot of people were saying like how they made us all mask up, because really it was like, how do we train our software to recognize people and their faces when they're wearing a mask?
Right.
And so now it's like, are they trying to push glitter so that they can train their
Ah,
identification software to recognize us even with the glitter on our
right,
faces that we
right.
thought was going to like defeat these, infrared scanning device? Like, it's kind of like, I feel like so many of the things that we're sort of pushed into, like even just, I don't want to go too far into the rabbit hole, but like the Jeffrey Epstein stuff, it's like the other day everyone's complaining because Bondi was like don't look at it, don't look at it, don't look at it. And it's literally just the human nature of like, okay, we're going to look at it now.
Right.
So like this trend of wear glitter makeup so that we can train our facial recognition AI on what, on defeating anything that would defeat it.
Right. Yeah. Or you start thinking about things we've known since like 2001, 2002, the sort of, what do they call it? The micro dust, nano dust, tracking particles that they used to find Osama bin Laden in like the caves. They would sprinkle this nano dust over the mountains of Afghanistan or whatever, and then the nano dust was scanned or something, or transmitted back, and it built like a perfect 3D model of the mountain range, and they could find I don't know, considering all, if not most, if not all glitter is made in one highly national securitized factory in New Jersey. Who knows what's in that glitter, man? The smart dust. They're getting the smart dust on the kids' faces.
And too, like I was thinking, like, because I even showed you guys showed that picture of in Iran where they were burning the effigy, and I said, oh look, all the Iranians who hate America all have phones, smartphones,
right?
Like they're just as inundated as we are with the stuff. And I was like, for COVID, like if you were to use your facial ID on your phone, it had a setting for like, if you were wearing a mask,
right,
so that it could also do your face with a mask. And now if all the women who use their phone and use their face to open their phone and all this stuff are wearing glitter, it's like building in another layer for this facial recognition to say, okay, I'm gonna like deal with this sort of problem that was presented to me, to try to work around, like, how do I still know what the face is? And right, because everyone keeps,
you're onto something, man.
Yeah,
I think you're onto something.
There's something going on.
Once Taylor Swift becomes the source of all these girls putting glitter on their face, there's some sort of op. Can't deny it. Some sort of op. Yeah, well, good keeping an eye out, man. We're gonna, like most things, you got to keep an eye out for this glitter thing. I don't know exactly. It will reveal itself, like all things. The glitter will reveal itself as much as the enemy tries to hide it. So we got to keep an eye out, buddy.
Yeah, just don't inhale glitter. That's for sure.
That is, if you can help it. The fact that glitter is such a hands-on art activity product for children, it's kind of concerning. Well, right. God bless you, man. Thanks for calling in. It's great to talk to you again.
You too. Bye.
Take it easy. The glitter conspiracy. Oops. I forgot I still had Taylor Swift up here on screen. There we go. All right. There we go. Yeah. It's my instinct. I haven't spent a whole lot of time thinking about it or keeping an eye out. But I bet glitter is one of those things that if we actually start paying attention to it and start keeping an eye out, we're going to find it in all sorts of strange and unusual and unexpected places. All right, we got another caller in the waiting room. We're going to say hello. And just a heads up for everybody, most of you know this, on the back end here, I am just running a 10-minute timer on each call. It's not a hard and fast limit, but it's just a way for us to make sure that we're saving enough time for all the callers. So there you go. All right. Who do we got next? We got Old John. Old John calling in. What's up, Old John? How are you, buddy?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you great. I like your little profile picture of a kind of wonky mascot looking Raphael.
Yeah, thanks, man. I don't have a camera on my PC, so I just picked a picture.
It's for the best, brother. It's for the best.
Yeah.
Well, what's on your mind today, buddy?
What's up, man? Nothing. I've thought about calling in, several weeks and never did. So
I'm glad
I had the opportunity today. Yeah, man.
See, folks,
So
that's how you do it. When you have the opportunity, you call in. You don't need anything special. That's what makes the world go round here. So you've been tuning in.
oh yeah, definitely. Yep.
Okay, cool. Right on.
I don't listen to news talk as much as I used to, but
Yeah, that's
I never
okay.
miss this one. I love it.
That's pretty common. That's why. Well, I'm glad to hear that. That was kind of my hope with Clubhouse, was that it would,
Yeah, man.
when people
It's
need to
great.
take a little break from the news, which I totally recommend if people are feeling overwhelmed or just they can't pay attention or they just got better stuff going on. Take a little breaky poo. But that's what this show's a little bit of a breaky poo too, built into the thing. So thanks for saying that.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I don't have an agenda.
Yeah, that's okay. No worries. I mean, you've made it this far. Now, it's interesting. You said you've been kind of taking it easy on the News Talk show. Are you kind of taking it easy in general when it comes to keeping up with whatever, all the Luciferian madness going on in the world?
Yes. Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, it's just bums me out, makes me mad, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Which some could argue that it's kind of supposed to,
Yes.
the reaction is the purpose. So it is a valiant and noble rebellion to stay away from it. So God bless you for
Yeah.
that.
Well, I'm still, over mediated in other ways. But
Over you mean the other media? You mean?
yes, I watch a ton of YouTube. It's just, not about political stuff. It's,
Yeah. Well, it's 2026. You can't stay away from the YouTube. What do
I,
you
I
watch?
feel like
What's your
it's
YouTube thing?
oh, I watch a lot of, nerdy stuff. I watch Counter-Strike videos.
There
Pretty
you
much every
go.
Counter-Strike. Hey, do you play Counter-Strike?
I don't play Counter-Strike. I have played Counter-Strike. I don't do as much gaming as I'd like to these days. Just kind of feel guilty. I got other things to do. But I do. I did just finish Ghost of Yote, which was um, is not a first-person shooter or even online game, but it's like what was it? The sequel to Ghost of Tsushima, and because it's about ancient Japan and their samurais and stuff like that, I consider it part of my relationship. What's the word? Maintenance, relationship maintenance, so I can understand Gon's and
Guns,
his
yeah,
deep roots.
yeah. Yep.
I see Sir
Um,
Darren out of the Hungry Panda also added a Ninja Turtle into his thing. This is the Ninja Turtle profile pictures are catching on here.
dude, you know what I should have done is I have a picture from when I was a kid of I met a Ninja Turtle at the grocery store,
Oh
and it's a
my
really
gosh.
funny one. I didn't think about that till it was too late, but but anyway, I shouldn't have brought up Counter Strike. I don't know. I watch a bunch of nerdy stuff,
Yeah, well,
which
that's
maybe I
good.
do have kind of an agenda. Do you know what XMPP is? It's a
XMPP, no.
Yeah, it's a it's a chat protocol where it's like Discord or something like that, but it's self-hosted.
Oh,
So it's on
okay.
you make your own server.
Yeah, I'm
And
looking at it.
yeah. And by the way, quite a while ago now, you guys were talking about um, investing in self-hosted stuff, but
Yes.
I haven't heard you talk about it in a while.
No, we've been working hard. It turns out it's a much longer process to find the things that meet our needs, and we're trying to find a balance. One of the really difficult parts is um, either learning all the difficult parts ourselves or getting help from other talented people who are a little better at it. And just because of the nature of everything, it has been a much slower process than we were hoping and praying it would be.
Yeah.
Unless you're a pro at it and you've got 1,000 hours that you want to donate to set it all up for us. That's the only other one.
I wish. I
Yeah.
wish that would be cool. I
Yeah.
like messing with that stuff, and it's like I work construction, so I like to do nerdy computer stuff in my spare time.
Yeah, and you know what? This has happened. So we've had several iterations of versions that we've started working towards. One thing that's been really crazy. You think you find something that works, and then you get about 50% into making it work, and then there's some little detail or whatever that just is like, oh shoot, we should have known this before. It does this. This is not. Yeah, and sometimes it's like capacity, or they sneak in like a payment you have to do, or I don't know, the hardware isn't there. Sometimes we various sort of services or even open source stuff that we have started working on or even got close will like change their privacy protocols, or like out of nowhere they'll just like change their privacy agreement, and suddenly it's like, well, we can't do this one anymore. So
that's unchill.
I know, it's very unchill, man.
How do you feel about Linux?
I like the idea of it. I like most things about it. The one thing that I'm not super stoked about is the amount of work that it would take to get really good at it.
Well, yeah, I hear you. For me, I just out of rage and spite, I got off Windows from like when I realized all the what do they call it, telemetry stuff was going on.
Yeah,
because I'm old. Like I love Windows 95 and 98 so much from the bottom of my heart, and realizing I was being betrayed by the operating system, So anyway, I got off that and onto Linux, and I don't know, man. I'm not saying it's
no. I mean, that's the thing with Linux. Everybody, and I know a couple guys who are Linux guys, and the thing I love about Linux guys is almost every single one of them is someone who reached peak rage, and that rage fueled them to get in and get good at Linux and figure the whole thing out. So, it's just a matter of time before peak rage sets in and we're all going Linux.
Well, it is easier than you think, but honestly, it could be. Well, something weird happened in the Linux thing. So there was somebody who was in charge of the source code put malicious code in this one small program that a bunch of distributions use.
Ooh.
And a Microsoft guy found it. It sounds fake to me, but anyway, it's not like Linux is like magic and you can never be hacked or anything like that. Like to me, it's just kind of a middle finger to the man.
It's a viable option and a quality rebellion against Microsoft specifically, but also Mac people too. See, that's the problem. Is most Linux users, and sorry for the nerdy talk people, but there's something, don't worry, God's doing something here. What I've noticed about Linux users is most of them did it in rebellion to Windows. For the most part, it's anti-Windows. When somebody starts as a Mac person or is a Mac person, very rarely do they reach the level of rage with Mac.
It's true, but also they're not allowed to think like that. They're in jail.
Well, they're in the Matrix basically. They're in the pod with Neo,
the walled garden,
and they enjoy it too much. The pod is too good. The pod's too comfortable.
What enrages me is my friends and family all have iPhones, and they act like me having a different colored speech bubble or whatever is like the end of their world. And but it is kind of they make it annoying on purpose for outsiders. They're doing that on purpose.
Yeah, the green bubble was specifically designed
of shame,
to punish people for not being
on
iPhone. Well, stay strong, bro. I can tell you're a quality soldier in the rebellion, the techno rebellion. You got what it takes, and someday, I'm glad you're resting up your mind and your will these days, because like I have been told plenty of times, it's the Linux bros that will save the world. So God bless you.
Thank you.
All right, buddy.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that's on your mind before we check in with another caller?
Yeah, I'm trying to quit smoking, and it is.
Oh, God bless you.
It is not fun.
No,
it is bad.
No, it is bad. Are you currently on a no cigarette run? Are you going cold turkey? Are you working your way down? What's the?
Yes. There's a couple stages of quitting.
Yeah.
So I'm almost out of my last pack, but last week somebody mentioned smoking, and I was like, "Oh, good, another naughty boy."
Yeah. No, we have plenty of producers, both who want to quit, are in the process of quitting, or there's always those old timers who did quit, and they've got lots of good advice. So if there's any producers out there who want support or can be support, we should probably make a little part of the Discord channel or something for people.
Yeah.
But yeah, we talk about addiction a lot in general, just as a broad concept. No matter what the addiction is of, addiction's addiction. It's a battle, and man, trying that battle without God makes it 100 times harder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, God bless you, buddy. We'll be praying
man.
for you. We'll get the producers praying for you. You need the strength, and may Linux, your Linux use, strengthen you for the hard road ahead.
Okay, man. It was good talking to you. Have a good one.
Great talking to you, old John. God bless you, buddy. Talk to you again.
Okay.
There you go. See what I'm talking about, folks? Effort, and patience. That's I forget who it was. Somebody did mention quitting cigarettes last week. I mean, it's an incredibly common thing. I actually had some prepper dudes in my area who we see each other. We talk about prepping every once in a while. And he was a big smoker. And he was telling me about how in his greenhouse he's growing tobacco plants, which I'm not sure. I didn't see the tobacco plants. I don't know if he actually had them. I think maybe he was just talking about it, like, oh, I smoke, so I need to grow tobacco plants. I'm not even sure if it's legal to grow tobacco plants. But and he had this whole big plan. He was talking about this, putting in just thousands of dollars and all this work just to make sure that he could, keep smoking when society collapses. The funny thing is, and I told him this, you look at any apocalypse movie, any zombie movie, any apocalypse movie, any end of the world movie, any post-apocalypse movie, they always have cigarettes and they're always smoking. So there's something about somebody's prepping cigarettes. Maybe they're just stacking cartons. Like in Waterworld. Waterworld's my favorite example of this. The whole world's covered with water, and what's that guy's name? Kevin Costner? I don't know. I'm bad at old actors' name. I think it's Kevin Costner. The bad guys are called the smokers, and they use engines, ski-doos and boats, and they have this big tanker, an oil tanker that they use to fuel all their things. And they have just millions of cigarettes. They're always smoking. I think maybe they had like captured what do they call it? A container ship filled with bajillions of cigarettes. Don't worry. If you're a smoker and you're scared, you'll either quit cold turkey because cigarettes won't exist, or there will be cigarettes around for one reason or another, if Hollywood's to be believed. All right, next up on the list, we got Germ hanging out. Let's bring Germ up on stage. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
Hello, can you actually hear me?
I can hear you great. I like your fatigue there.
Oh, cool. It's my my coat my dad gave me. course,
Love
when he first got it for me for Christmas, I couldn't even wear it because some of the buttons were all weird. I ended up
Is
having
it?
to fix it. I ended up
Is
having
it?
to fix a bunch of the buttons.
That's funny. Is it like from a army surplus? Is it like a legit fatigues, or was
Oh,
it?
it's not a fatigue thing. It's just that color.
Oh,
It's
oh,
almost like it almost looks like trees or something.
oh! I see. Okay, yeah, it's kind of like a
It's
Southwest
almost like
pattern.
a Southwest type thing,
Got it.
like you'd have on like a blanket.
Looking good, buddy. Looking good. What's on
Yeah,
your
I'm
mind today?
14. Yeah, I'm 14 days out from that post-op. I had my gallbladder removed.
Oh my gosh!
That
Holy
was pretty
smokes!
scary. I was suffering for months and months, and I just thought it was like a GERD because I have pretty bad stomach issues already with my GERD. And about since November or so, it started getting worse and worse, and I just kept putting it off and putting it off, and I was kept thinking, it's just really bad stomach problems. I feel like I'm digesting either a rock or a brick in my stomach, but
Oh
and
gosh!
turns out that it was gallstones that were so huge that they were blocking my entire gallbladder. And then
Bro,
there was smaller gallstones on the inside of my gallbladder that were blocking up my entire gallbladder. So my entire gallbladder was non-functional, and they had to first remove all the gallstones, and then they had to remove the entire gallbladder. And all I have now is this little weird part of the bottom of the gallbladder, which connects the gallbladder to the liver as a weird little stint. And I'm
bro.
hoping that will work. But if not, I have to go through another surgery, and I have to get a medical stent put in to my liver.
Oh my gosh! That's crazy, man. That's
Yeah.
I get it. I was gonna ask, you kind of answered my question, like, what did it feel like? And it sounds like you were feeling this for a couple of months. And, a lot of us can understand that process of like, hey, there's a pain, but it's not necessarily a pain that I don't expect, or not necessarily, you have other stuff going on. So you kind of leave it for a few months. Both your story and my story with my appendix were very similar
Oh, yeah. That's
in
exactly what
that,
I was thinking of when I was going through that.
yeah. And this is a lesson that both you and I have now learned, and hopefully someone out there will learn it from us instead of having to learn it
Oh,
themselves.
yeah.
Don't wait on those things, because it just gets worse and worse. It's crazy.
Yeah, literally when I called emergency, I was crippled over in the bathroom, trying to sleep on the floor of the bathroom because
Yeah.
I was so bad, and I was throwing up a bunch of bile all night long.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
And still, even in the pain, I still had to call in my boss. I had to call off work. I had to then I had to call in to the urgent care because I still thought it was the GERD thing. I go into the urgent care. It takes forever when I get to the urgent care because I also have to take an Uber. Then finally they get me in there with urgent care, and they go, wait, how is your pain feeling? And I go, oh, probably about a 9 or a 10. I'm not feeling great, and ended up calling me an ambulance because they said, oh, there's nothing we can really do in terms of urgent care. So they
I had
rushed me
the
over to the
exact
so they had
same
to
story.
rush me over to the emergency thing and a town over, and I just had to wait, and I'm in excruciating pain, and it takes forever to even get in. And then they finally call me, and they like do all these scans and stuff, and then they wheel me back in like a wheelchair, and then I can't even move because I'm in this wheelchair, and they call me again, and I can't do anything because I'm in the wheelchair and I'm in excruciating pain. I tell them, I've been called like 4 times, what's going on? And finally somebody comes back and wheels me back again. And then they tell me, basically, you need to have some more scans done. I had this like CT scan done. I had one of those like weird things where they put the gel in your stomach, and then they put that wand on there, and
Sonogram.
they basically check your insides. And then basically through those ones, I waited and waited again in the lobby. and they come back out and they tell me, oh man, your gallbladder is pretty much dead, and you need to have it out like today. So they end up finally transferring me to a hospital that actually does that kind of surgery. And they were also so booked up that I was in the hallway for about 6 hours. And I was just above a halogen light, and it's blinding me. And then all I'm doing is waiting for a room to open up so they can do surgery on me. And finally, they say, "Oh yeah, we have an open room," but it turns out they were talking about an open room where I can wait in terms of like the eating of the Jello and all that, and just a hospital bed while you're waiting for the surgery still. And it took me an entire day to actually be able to see my surgeon and have her do the surgery. Ugh.
Oh my
So it
God.
took from the 28th to the 29th just to be able to do the surgery, and here I was in excruciating pain. So thankfully they were able to get me a lot of like pain medication and stuff. But in the ambulance itself, when they rushed me over there, for some reason the guy couldn't get my veins, even though my veins were pretty good. You can usually see my veins, and it turns out that the guy was so new that he kept messing up the process.
Yeah.
And he messed up my veins like 4 times. And I'm like, oh, my veins are killing me.
Yeah.
Ugh. So
Dude,
the 29th of January, they finally got me in there for surgery. And I've had quite a bit of other surgeries, but man, that anesthesiology sure does knock you out. That is
It's
weird.
crazy. It's really
like
weird.
being abducted or something, like one of those little stories of somebody like time just disappearing. Because they just say, oh, I'm the anesthesiology guy. How's it going? And they put the mask on you finally, and they get you all comfy, and then you just kind of breathe a little bit. And then you wake up in a completely different room, and you're like, wait, didn't you just put a mask on me?
Yeah.
That's so weird.
No, nothing. It's not black. You're not dreaming. It's not like you're asleep. It's just like straight up like you've been abducted. You blink.
Yeah. And they, on top of that, I had this like thing called a JP drain on my side, and it's basically draining the wound.
Yeah.
And basically, I have like, oh, you did?
Yeah.
Those are miserable. And one person I looked up online only got it, had it in there for 5 days. I have to wait until the 19th to see if I can even have it taken out.
Yeah. I was gonna ask. I had to have mine in for like 3 weeks or something. And I'll tell you what, the only thing weirder than having that drain in is when they take the drain out.
I can imagine. Just looking at it on my side, I'm like, man, that's gonna be weird when they take that thing out because it's sticking out of your side like that.
Yeah. Ugh. Dang, man. Well, you have had a serious time the past couple of weeks. Oh, you've been, it's been 14 days since the surgery. So you've just been taking it easy, right? You're just chilling.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm on medical leave right now. It's crazy because I can't even go back to work right now. They said, oh, yeah, you could probably go back to work even with the thing. And I told them, you do realize what I said I do, right? I'm a janitor. I have to push, pull, pick things, huge, giant, heavy things up all day long. They go, oh, that's not going to work.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's crazy. Jeez. Well, God bless you, man. Of course, we're going to have the producers out there. Everybody's saying little prayers for you because you're.
Oh, I definitely need it.
You've had quite the journey so far, but it's not over. The recovery from that kind of stuff. For me, there was, of course, pain every day when it comes to that. And they give you a little something for it. But, and even when you think you're feeling good, you'll learn like when you just twist your body in one certain way or something, then suddenly you're like, oh, I'm still not okay. Even after I got the drain taken out, I mean, it was several months before I could really do anything normally. I mean, especially
with the gallbladder thing, because one big crazy thing is I cannot eat 3 meals a day anymore. I have to be on a low-fat diet for now, and I have to eat 4 to 6 meals a day. Just little small meals a day. It's craziest thing.
I see.
I've like lost more weight than I have in years, I'm much healthier, but it's weird to have to eat 4 to 6 small little weird meals a day.
Yeah, it changes everything. Yeah, when something like this, you have a surgery or some sort of medical thing like this, it just changes your whole life. You see kind of the routines that you had gotten in, you see everything that you kind of took for granted, and suddenly you got to basically reprogram your whole life, not just your work or your sleep, but just like, all the way down to the tiniest details of your day are just
Yeah,
totally
if it
new.
wasn't for my family helping me out in terms of a lot of that stuff, I
Yeah,
wouldn't even be able to sleep, to be able to take a shower, anything, because there's so much stuff I had to do that were much, much more than 20 pounds. And I'm like, I can't even push this thing, let alone pull it.
right.
And it was like,
Yeah,
man, if my part of my family didn't come over and help me move things, it was like, man, I couldn't even function.
totally. Totally. Well, dang, dude. We are certainly going to keep you in our prayers. Producers out there, make sure to be praying for Germ. I mean, you're halfway through
I
this
definitely
journey, buddy.
appreciate it.
You
Thank
betcha.
you.
Yeah, thank goodness you have the strength to call into the show, tell your story, so the rest of the Canary Cry family here can, keep you in their prayers or reach out. Make
Yeah.
sure you got, moral support's also very important. You lay there for
Yeah.
long enough, you start questioning all sorts of things. So
Yeah,
God
and I
bless
gotta
you,
say
buddy.
that anybody who thinks that there's something wrong with them, like seriously wrong, don't put it off. At least get some sort of checkup, because it
Yeah,
can save your life. Because they said that if I would have waited just a little bit longer, that thing would have gotten badly infected just a little bit after that, and I could have died.
yeah.
Ugh.
That's the lesson. Same with me. I had waited. I was septic by the time that I had gone into the emergency room, and it didn't have to be
Yeah.
that way. So, don't ignore these things, folks. Pay attention. Well, God bless you, Germ. Thank you so much for calling in, buddy.
Thank you.
God bless on your journey through recovery, and make sure to call in again. Let us know how it's been going.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, buddy.
Have a great day. Bye.
You too. Goodness gracious. Yeah, I remember that. That drain thing is the craziest thing. It's just like this tube sticking out of the side of your abdomen. It's like not even attached to anything. It's just some tube that goes in and curls around your innards for some reason. And the grossest part is it is draining, meaning weird fluids are coming out of that thing and collecting in a weird little bulb. It is very bizarre. And I don't want to give away the surprise to anybody or give away the surprise to Germ. But when you go in to see if they can take it out, they just kind of pull on it. They just kind of pull on it right there in the doctor's office. And if you're lucky, they'll say, okay, 3, 2, whoop, and then they pull it out. They don't wait till 1. All right. Well, God bless that guy. Keep it German in your prayers, folks. All right, we got another caller here in the waiting room. We're going to say what's up to Sir Psalm 40. Sir Psalm 40, what's up, buddy? You are on the air.
Hey man, what's up?
Not much.
Um,
Just thankful to be alive.
yeah, for real. I have mad respect for anybody that's ever had any kind of a surgery. I'm I'm in my late 30s and I've only gone to the hospital for broken bones on 2 occasions, and other than that, probably only drug overdoses. Never had to have any kind of surgery.
I mean, broken bones and drug overdoses are pretty good reasons to go to the hospital.
Yeah, but like an open body surgery with someone's hands inside of my body, like
Yeah.
I very much respect people that do that because I don't know how I personally would be able to handle that.
Yeah, it's weird, man. Surgery is like it's a fairly common thing, and it's talked about a lot. And people say, "Oh, I had to get a surgery," or "I might have to get a surgery," and you hear about it a lot, and you don't really think about it. But you stop for a second, and you really think about having someone else's hands or a robot arm getting inside you, snipping things away. Yeah, it's a pretty trippy concept.
Yeah, so I'll definitely be praying for our friend about that.
Yeah.
And also, I'm praying for all the smokers. I too am a filthy smoker, so don't feel bad.
I
I
think it's so funny. Nobody's harder on smokers than smokers. You guys are funny.
yeah, it's probably like the easiest thing like to obviously attack, like something that would be a resolution. Everybody knows that they shouldn't be doing it, but they do it
Mm.
type thing. Like people will argue about marijuana or alcohol, but everybody knows that smoking is definitely, they can all agree on that that's not good for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I was able to cold turkey swap straight from cigarettes to a vape. Not that that may have been better,
Right.
but having done that, I got to a point where like I would probably only hit the vape literally like a handful of times a day, like four or
Mm.
five times
Right.
a day.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's something. It's
yeah,
definitely different, and there's a lot to say about what's actually in vapes, but getting it down to just a handful of puffs a day, I mean, that's definitely something, man.
I I missed the show last week, but I've heard you keep repeating about patience and how there's an effort to it.
Yeah.
And there was a time in my life where um I feel like I had an anger issue, or I just didn't like the way that I reacted to certain things, and whether it was justified or not. But instead of like counting, like when people tell you when you get angry you're supposed to like count backwards, I would repeat the fruit of the spirit. There's
Ooh.
9 fruit of the spirit, so like it's basically counting to 10. But
Yeah.
patience was definitely the one that like I focused on. So like I think that patience, much like faith, is actually a verb. Like
Yeah.
it is something that you have to, it's an expression. You know what I mean? It has
Yeah.
to, it's not really, what would it be called? Like it's active. It's
Yeah,
an
yeah.
active thing.
Yeah,
And
I like that. We've talked about love as a verb, patience as a verb too, because it really is something you have to do, you know?
well,
You're
the
you're
fruit, just
you're
it's a fruit of
doing
the spirit.
something.
Right. And the spirit is living and active, and patience and love and faithfulness, or these are all through the spirit. And I think it's in Romans, it says that patience, or it might say suffering, actually, suffering produces endurance, which eventually produces hope. And
Yeah,
hope is one of those things that doesn't pass away. At the end of Corinthians 13, the love passage, love never passes away. Neither
yeah.
does hope or faith.
That's good. I like that a lot, especially the endurance part, doing patience, being patient, which, as I mentioned earlier, the truth is really takes some effort to be patient, at least at first. It's something you kind of got to commit to, and really doesn't come easy to someone who isn't practiced up in it, but produces endurance. Endurance has been a big theme for us in the show, at least the past year or so, because sometimes you look around and the only thing we're sort of called to is to endure, faithfully in a situation like this. So yeah, to lay out that kind of roadmap to endurance there biblically is that's really you're a sharp guy, Sir Psalm 40.
Thank you, thank you. Um, so sharp turn. When you were talking about glitter earlier, first of all, I did not know that New Jersey had anything to do with glitter. I didn't know that. That was news to me. I did know the whole like
Sorry, say that one more time.
I didn't know that New Jersey had
Ah,
anything to do with glitter. I
yeah,
wasn't aware of that detail. But
yeah. It's apparently got the only glitter factory in wherever. It's maybe the world, but at least the West Coast or the West
yeah,
Hemisphere.
I am probably gonna have to look more into that because do you actually offhand know the literal material? Like I'd assume it's some kind of rock, essentially, or a mineral once
Well,
you
we it's been a
branch it out.
while since we did the deep dive on this, but concerningly, I forget exactly what it's called, but aluminum or aluminum oxide, one of the really scary aluminums was a big aspect to it. There's a few different ingredients, but I know aluminum was part of it.
Well, it made me think of the Watchers, of how
Ooh,
the women would beautify their eyes, which was also the teaching of cutting roots. But
yeah.
we hear a lot about the roots of mountains in the Bible. Even in the canon, they talk about mountains having roots.
Ooh.
So, and I'm sure, all the Nephilim were all stone builders. We know the megalith, rabbit holes. So, like, it being, you know, you have your own, like, what is it, antimony rabbit hole you like to go down.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah,
So,
I think you're absolutely right. You know, like the antimony, the basis of the sort of weirdness about antimony was that it was on a list of things. Now it's the only material mentioned, but it lists, cosmetics and medicine and weapons and armor and antimony and this. And the kind of, what I draw from that is that, we're kind of generally talking about technology, and technology touches, everything humans do. And the watchers, these sort of rebellious sons of God, bringing this knowledge, teaching man these different methods of technology. uh, you know Part of what we part of the canary cry theory of everything is, it is all sort of connected for one big spiritual purpose. You can't separate the importance of, the watchers teaching about cosmetics from the watchers teaching about, alchemy or chemistry or something, because those things are inherently involved with one another, and both coming from the same source, a source that is explicitly in rebellion of God. So kind of the point with that, the whole source of that material, the whole source of technology and everything attached to it, is that it is sort of like inherently, if not in rebellion to God, sort of sourced, developed from someone's rebellion to God. And so these things, the antimony was just an interesting example of how, you can trace the sort of spiritual ancestry of pretty much every industry of our world back to this one mineral that the
mm,
Watchers were so excited to tell us. Um, yeah, and cosmetics and makeup and things, this is all also very tied with things like witchcraft. If you're gonna talk about celebrities doing rituals and the costumes and the makeup is communicating their aspects of their rituals, of course, many of which are explicitly in rebellion to God's ways and God's creation. It's hard to separate glitter, man. Glitter, it even fits into the weapons part of it. The Watchers taught men how to make weapons and make armor. The fact that the glitter factory is, a national security issue pretty much implies that there is weaponized glitter somewhere protecting our country.
I think the part that connects all of this and what I think is most interesting is that they all stem from things within the ground, whether it is
Yeah.
plants or rocks.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
another thing that comes from the ground and goes in everything is oil.
Mm-hmm.
It's in plastics, medicines, and you cook with it.
Yeah, petroleum. I mean,
And
just literally everything. What
right,
today's
so
world would just not exist. Almost nothing in our world today that we take for granted would exist without petroleum. That is a good thing you point out. Yeah, it's like the theme of the Watchers is, I guess, teachings was had explicitly to do with how to, one word could be exploit, exploit creation to uh work man's will upon the world, because of course man's will is often the thing that's um exalted to be, you can be as gods, your will. Of course, the occult references like Aleister Crowley, man's will is of the utmost, power. And, will is one thing, but knowledge to extract, maybe extract is a better word, extract from creation, to exert man's will on the face of the earth. Nothing has made man's search to be as God than the things that we're able to pull from the earth to build the technology to give us access to this new, I guess, power level upon the earth here.
it's weird. You took the thoughts right out of my head because you're talking about the will, and I just recently learned that thelema is
Yeah.
the Greek word for will.
Hmm.
And but in the Bible, whenever it's used, it's you know specifically states God's will, as opposed to even the righteous man's will. It's always
Yeah.
God's will above it. But what makes something in
And
opposition to God is always
Thelema, by the way, was the name of Aleister Crowley's cult. That's what
right.
that was the name of his religion, Thelema.
Yeah, do what thou wilt.
Yeah.
But the thing I think what makes something in opposition to God is the improper mixing of things. Like he's
Mm.
a God of order. So like, they've got their crazy law, the Levitical laws. It's always about cleanliness and, you know, proper procedures and proper placements and timings and gestures and things like that. No improper mixtures of things. Um, that was the problem with all of the falls, the garden, Genesis 6, and the tower.
Right.
And that's what the Watchers, with their black dust, glitter, rocks from the earth, improperly mixing, and their black goo, oil from the depths of the earth, improperly mixing.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's a lot. It's really heavy, because of course, the extra biblical sources like the Book of Enoch and others are sort of as they're referenced in the Bible. So it stands to reason that they can at least be referenced in understanding some um, maybe some of the not so explicit parts of biblical text. uh, Looking around at even just the history of mankind and the biggest leaps in, I mean, history of anything, of even man's ability to survive, man's ability to do anything, the most impressive things that we've been able to do and now kind of take for granted because they're required for our survival basically nowadays. Yeah, stem from this, like you say, the sort of mixture, a collection of resources and collection of sources of knowledge that, again, in the Book of Enoch, sort of explicitly come from a group of spiritual beings that, yeah, are tricky. Of course, being in rebellion of God, being rebellious sons of God, like that's its own, you could call that some form of evil. And we try to talk about like in our human moral code, is pumping oil out of the ground and using it to make plastics for hospital supplies evil? I don't think anybody would necessarily make that case in a sort of serious theological discussion. But it's that, what's the word? It's sort of that kind of contradiction or that kind of illogical situation that we're in, that really define just how complicated human existence is, and it doesn't make it any less complicated for those who are kind of aware of this roadmap. In fact, it just makes it more complicated. It's a fun thing being a human being for a little while.
It is. Even the angels watch with, eagerness or whatever it says.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. Well, thank you for bringing some very deep things to contemplate today, Sir Psalm 40. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Did you have
thanks for-
anything else on your mind before we check in with another caller?
I guess Hebrews 10, do not forsake the gathering together. Don't forget, you're not doing this alone wherever you're at on the journey. Don't hesitate to reach out.
Amen. Amen. You hear that, folks?
Amen.
Listen to Sir Psalm 40. Thank you very much, buddy. Always great to talk to you. Hope to talk to you again soon.
Yep, peace.
Peace. Yeah, man. I mean, that is kind of it's like part of the requirement of giving of our fullness over to God to bring any sort of reconciliation with the situation. If you want to get as squirrely as drawing life-saving technology back to where theologically it would come from, which is the Watchers giving us that knowledge, um, only surrender to God our will and our logic. That's the only thing to do. There's nothing else to do. All right, we got another caller on the line here. Who do we got? Be More Busker. There he is. What's up, buddy? How are you? You're on the air.
Hey, can you hear me all right?
I can hear you great.
Awesome. First and foremost, I want to thank Canary who there was a give send go for me because my parents died and my father died, and he was financially helping me out a lot, and it was just a blessing that because of you. I mean, I've felt the touch of God because of you and Liz. That Liz opened the give send go for me just out of nowhere. I was just like, if you want to do it, man, it's fine by me. I mean, that'd be great because I'm financially, in a pit for a lot of things.
Yeah, right.
And it's because and it makes me think more about God and how you both are people of God. And that's inspiring to me.
Amen,
No,
man. I'm so
no,
happy to hear that worked out for you. That something good came from
yeah,
your give send go and from your appearance on the show last time.
yeah, it was real awesome of you guys. You know,
Yeah.
everybody who donated, I really appreciate it. From wherever. It's really cool how I've I've been on YouTube since 2008. But the whole streaming and panel thing, that's kinda like I guess after 2020 is when I noticed it, but then I started to participate in maybe 20 yeah, I think it was 2023, and I met Liz, the person who opened that, Give, Send, Go for me.
Mm.
I met her on one of the panels, and it was on going through StreamYard and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
like this, it's just it's awesome to have this around. Like I have StreamYard, but I only have the free version. I don't know. I mean, it kind of badgers me to get the bulk version, but I'm not gonna do that. But like yeah. Anyway, yeah, so I appreciate all you guys help
Yeah,
and
man. God bless you. I'm so happy to hear that, the Lord's doing stuff in your life and for me to play a part in it and Canarians to play a part in it. And,
yeah, it was
just coming from you, man, having the courage to come on the show to call in and share your story. And of course, activate the producers. We got some great Canarians around the world, man, who, yeah, went right to work praying for you. And we're just so stoked to hear that God blessed you through that, man. That's amazing.
yeah. And Liz, she's the one who opened the Give Son Go, and
Yeah.
I was like, "If you wanna do it, that's cool. I mean, whatever." But she, her she wrote a book about her walk with Jesus to get out of heroin when
Oh
she
wow.
was younger. She's from Australia, she's a grandmother now, she has many grandchildren,
Oh wow.
and, back maybe in the late, I don't know, 70s, 80s, maybe she was into heroin, and
That was
she
big time for heroin. The
yeah,
80s. A good
yeah,
time.
I mean, like, I guess, yeah, the 80s, 90s, and, like, 2000s, like, I guess on and on, but, like, you gotta it's everywhere. That's the sick thing, but I don't know, like, yeah, I guess there was, certain years that probably were more so, you know, strung out on that.
Yeah. So I just doing a little search here, at least on Amazon. I found a book From Heroin to Christ, a
Yeah,
true
that's her.
story,
Yeah,
a
that's
memoir
right.
by E.A. Moldovan. So this was the gal who was helping you out.
Yes,
Let me see if I can
yes.
put it on the
She's a
screen here
she
in case anybody's interested. Not that I necessarily recommend buying everything from Amazon, but here's the example of it on Amazon, From Heroin to Christ, a true story. Yeah, that's amazing. What a cool gal, man.
yeah, and, well, I feel like crying. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's all good, buddy. It's a
Oh, man.
safe place, man.
Mm, man, it's been I mean, like, when I see my parents' pictures and I found a picture that I totally forgot about, and my god.
Mm.
And, like, I guess they were in their 60s, early 60s, late 50s maybe, and I guess that was right around the time I first started going downtown with my dad to busk,
Mm.
and, that was something cool because we did a stream for that Gibson Go, and, a couple of them, and we shared a lot of my videos from the Be More Busker channel, and it's just like it feels like, busking online because it's like renewing stuff that I don't even look at, but I still have like 349 some videos. Like there's 22 busking videos down in
Yeah.
Fells Point,
Yeah.
but there's just like a whole bunch of other videos of other stuff. Like, um, anyway, yeah. So music is the core of my life, and always has been.
Yeah, man. I mean, that is I've been thinking about this lately, and it's it's really tough. It's really tough because when my parents are still alive, thank God, and I'm kind of at this time where I'm like, "Oh, man, I really need to be kinda spending as much time with them as possible," not because they're in any state that, we should expect anything bad to happen, But then, I was laying awake at night and really kind of wrestling with why can any of us avoid like the worst of what life has to offer?
That's a good
And
question.
and I'm sitting thinking about it, and you consider the kind of the default, I guess, cycle of life, like the default script. Um, and it's really painful because
Yeah.
at best, the default script for one's life includes people passing, but especially our parents. And at best, it happens later. At the kind of the earlier it happens, the worse we would generally consider that. And at the
Yeah.
ultimate
Yeah.
worst would be you outlive your child. The only way for me not to experience the pain of my parents passing would be for me to pass, which would be even worse. I would not want them. I would rather they go be with Jesus than experience, losing their son early. Um, and yeah, this is certainly, I mean, I hope people hear me right here. I'm certainly not, um, what I'm not trying to say is that these painful things are coded into life in God's sort of default script for our lives, and so we shouldn't feel bad about these things, but it is explicitly sort of in God's plan for us to experience tragedy, and tragedy can come at different levels and different frequencies and different intensities. And being a human being, kind of coming to terms with tragedy as sort of unavoidable, goes against anything that we would like. Goes against my natural moral instincts for what life should be. you know my
Yeah.
moral instincts tell me that I don't want tragedy. I don't want other people to experience tragedy, and that's me. That's my will. I want everybody to avoid tragedy.
Yeah,
But it
me
is
too, brother. I can
it's
I
so
can
yeah.
yeah, I can relate to that for
Yeah.
sure. It's like,
And
and when you see people going through, whatever that's terrible, like it's just like you're kind of like caught up in your mind about it, and you know what I mean? Like it's just kind of like not too much for me, I guess, but um I don't know. I don't know what
yeah.
I'm trying to say,
No,
but
well, and that is the answer. I mean, that's the answer. I don't know, because in my moral authority, I'd say get rid of tragedy. Nobody needs it. We don't need it. But of course, my moral authority is trash, and God's is all good. And so I have to reluctantly to uh, come to understand that there is something in tragedy. I'm not gonna call it good, but there's something in tragedy that, um, God sort of requires of us. And theologically, we can go into, it's a product of the fall and this and that. The fact is God is sovereign, and this is the place that we're in. And so it's one of those more painful aspects of faith, the painful aspects of faith that lead people who are relying on their own logic to reject God, because hey, if they could, they'd get rid of all tragedy, and if God doesn't get rid of all tragedy, then I don't want to believe in God.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
which is sort of
Oh,
the
before I go, I just
yeah. Go
wanted
ahead.
to say that you're just the callers tonight, just listening to everybody. It's just like unlocking things that in my brain that I've totally forgot about.
I love
I,
it. I
I
love it.
was thinking, yeah, I got to take some milk thistle because I try to keep my liver as good as possible. Um, I'm not overweight. I used to be, but I'm underweight now. I'm like I don't know, 125. I'm shrinking.
You got to
But
start eating 5 or 6 meals a day like Germ does.
yeah, I mean, I'm 5'10 and a half or some shit. It's something like that. But
Slender
like,
fella.
yeah, I'm a teeny tiny thing now. My legs, anyway, my upper strength is pretty good because the accordion. I gotta say, it's like exercise, man.
The accordion upper body workout plan.
It is totally like
Good sales
I,
pitch for the accordion.
I've noticed it, like it, and that, and the big rubber bands for like physical therapy bands. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
And I should exercise my legs more with them because I just kind of have taken a break and I got to get back onto that. I got to eat more, which is kind of hard to do because I don't eat that much to begin with, but it doesn't bother me yet. But
Yeah.
anyway, I don't want to keep you up any more time. I appreciate
Yeah.
you having me up. And I appreciate the Canary and that your hookup because you put the word out there. And by the way, that Give Send Go is closed out now because I just figure, well, I'm not going to get anywhere else to talk about it. And I could have had it open still, but I just figure, well, it got up enough. I mean, I was just like, wow. I mean, that alone was beautiful to have that kind of a donation through you guys, the Canarians.
Amen, brother. I'm happy to hear that. It matters a lot, and it's great for Canarians to hear from the. I mean, Canarians stick together. We've supported
Yeah,
each other for years and years, and it's always a huge blessing to hear how much that blessed you, buddy. So I really appreciate you calling in. We're going to continue to pray for you, buddy. And
I appreciate. Yeah, man. You too. I love you, brother. You're a
I
good
love you,
man.
buddy. Make sure to call in again. Keep us posted.
Absolutely, bro. All right, man. See you.
God bless. Well, there you go. I love hearing these good testimonies. Good testimonies. Canarians sticking together. This is what I'm talking about, folks. There's not a whole lot of communities on the internet who are this invested in blessing, praying for, standing with their fellow Canarians. So that's very special. Good on you, Canary Cry family. All right, we got one more caller hanging out in the waiting room here. Let me check the time. How are we looking? Oh, an hour 50. This will be perfect timing. One last caller. We got Faye calling in. Faye, how you doing?
What is up, Baz?
Glad you called in. Great to talk to you again. Cool hat. You got your God's prayer hands hat. Looking good.
After being in the supply drop for quite a while now, you turn into a walking advertisement for the show. And we are always stocked with plenty of stickers.
Got stickers. Cheers.
Well, this is the number one thing that gets comments when I'm out and about. This is my Canary Cry propaganda mug.
I love it. Oh my God. Those are all supply drop stickers. Oh my God.
Those are So, and people ask me about that a lot. Like,
That
what
is
is
so
this Canary
fun.
Cry? This one is also, people love this one too.
The new yes, NWO Fantasy League tumbler. Oh, that thing's beautiful. I gotta bust that out.
And this keeps your drinks cold all day.
Hey,
So, Sir Isaac, well done.
thank God for that.
People love asking about all those little pictures.
That is so funny. That's a good idea because yes, stickers go out in every supply drop. I mean, by now, depending on how long you've been on the supply drop, you got to have like 30 stickers or something.
Well, yeah, here's, my stack of, stickers I got to find a home for. This was one of my favorite. There's a sticker for this too, but this is the Illuminati keychain.
The Illuminati room key. That's
yeah.
great.
Yeah. So, I don't have any more space on my mug, so I have my son doing his mug.
That's good inspiration. It's good
Yeah.
inspiration in case there's any supply droppers out there who don't know what to do with the endless amount of stickers. Putting them all on one object is like that's very strategic, very important. It makes the object very important, and also when somebody's looking at your Stanley or your cup or something, they're like, you read one weird sticker, they go, huh, I wonder what that is. And then they go to the next one that's even weirder and even funnier. And it's just like a spiral into the beauty of Canary Cry sticker onslaught. That's great.
Yeah, because some of them are very niche. Like, well, nom 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 nom.
Yeah, the inside jokes of the inside jokes of a sound bite that happened once on the news in 2020. It's great.
It's a classic. Okay, I have a question for you.
Yeah, what's going on?
Okay, so with it's in the Epstein area, but you've been at this game forever.
Mm-hmm.
I've been observing things since about 2016, 2017, when this is what woke me up was the Hillary Clinton emails.
Yeah.
The Podesta password, Anthony Weiner laptop.
Yeah.
Some horrific nightmares, like horrific black pill nightmares. And we sorted all through it, and that's when I found Face Like the Sun channel and helped me, process all this.
Yeah.
And then shortly thereafter, this show, when you guys were still doing your half hour once a week.
Uh-huh.
Okay, here's the question. With the Epstein files that you've been digging through and, other channels have been digging through, is there really any content in there that you didn't know already from when we went through this before, with the exception of some details about babies, which I won't go into?
Yeah.
Is there anything in there that you didn't know already? Because I found myself, we have a Super Bowl party every year where I spout off to my friends about the conspiracies and the rituals and all that, and they like to laugh at me.
Nice.
So we're talking about the Epstein files, and I'm like, nothing surprised me. There was not one thing in there that we didn't know already. So if you guys are surprised, well, I would just say don't look at it. Don't pay attention to it. This is all stuff that's out there already. But
yeah, exactly. No, I think you're absolutely right. I don't know if I mentioned it on air or not, but I certainly said it to Gons out loud. It's interesting. And I think this is an important perspective, especially for those of us who've known about it for a while, because for me, nothing, just like you, nothing that has come out, even the worst things that, are at least supported, if not proven by the emails, it's all been known. It's all been part of the ethos and the theory for quite some time. And on one hand, I'm almost thankful for that, because it not only am I thankful that there's like not more fresh horrors for me to have to process and figure out, but it tells us a lot about our time in 2016, 2017, learning about these things, because for many years, you talk about Epstein and it's just of course, the entire system, the entire propaganda, every mind-controlled person, would say, oh, that's crazy, that's absurd. It wasn't even just like, no, that's not happening. It's, you're crazy. That's crazy. And so on one hand, I am grateful that in this drop, there's not some new fresh hell that's going to disturb me, but every single one of the things that had come out, been theorized, not even theorized, like theorized is not even the right word. It was just another batch of emails that told us basically the same things that this batch of emails is telling us. Part of me wonders if, because of course, this was only half of the remaining batch of files. So we're told this batch of files has been, for almost 10 years been in the hands of organizations that could have, probably did, clean it of all the things they wanted to clean it. And part of me wonders if that's exactly what happened. They were like, okay, let's put out the files, take out everything in the files that isn't already known or supported. We will get the world, the conspiracy theorists, the crazy people, all hyped up. They get to say, we told you so. Everything that we knew before, we get to say, I told you so. But let's not add anything to the list of, already known things. That's possible. Do I think it matters that much that there's nothing totally new? Not really. I think just confirming the things that we already knew is good enough to destroy whoever needs to be destroyed. At least in the minds of the people waking up, people understanding they can't trust the elites, even on that basic level. I'm very grateful for whatever's going on. However, aware of the fact, very good chance there is much worse stuff in there. Maybe the worst stuff will come out in the next batch. Maybe they're saving it for some reason. It's all about timing. It's all about the plan. I'm not confused about where this is all heading, but I absolutely agree with you. So far, not a single thing that basically didn't already appear on a podcast episode in the last 10 years.
Well, and I find the emotion that I've been processing, and I uninstalled my stupid Instagram because the algos are just off the charts for, I'm like, I don't want to pay attention to this anymore. But I was feeling some anger and resentment because the random, you scroll through and there's content creators on there like, 10 years ago, I told you guys I said you were conspiracy theorists with tinfoil hats and I made fun of you and now you're right. And I'm like, you know what? Forget you. Go and wallow in it. And then I uninstalled it because I don't need those emotions either. But it was not fun. Yeah. And now, and I'm glad they're waking up. So, but I was just processing a lot of anger.
Yeah. Totally. No, I thankfully anger was not my response, but it's probably only because of having gone through that experience over and over and over for a long time. But yeah, totally. I'll say this, if it's not anger, there's almost a sadness to it because it's like, well, it's too late. I don't know. Is it too late? Is it by the time they're the ones controlling the information, by the time they're feeding this through and processing these people through their control mechanism, even with social media and whatever, there's no way to avoid the fact that so many people who are just coming to the realization this is true, most of it's happening through the enemy's control system. Mm-hmm. And so I do get a little sad and like, well, if that is the case, then I'm not super confident that, I don't know, that it'll end in the best way or that anything will really happen. And so there is a little bit of sadness attached to it. But yeah, I totally agree. It is a complicated relationship with people coming and saying, oh my gosh, you were right. Can you believe it? Like, yeah, I can believe it. I guess I'm happy that you did it, but I don't know.
I saw a meme. This and it was Squidward looking through a window and the conspiracy people were outside the window rejoicing because, everybody finally believes them. And the word over Squidward was flat earthers.
I know, the flat earthers are like the only conspiracy theorists that are left out of the celebration.
Only one.
I do take it back. Monica does make a good point in the chat. She says, we didn't know about Bill needing antibiotics. That was a new one. Bill Gates asking Jeffrey Epstein for antibiotics so he could secretly dose Melinda Gates because he had given her something that he didn't want her to know about. That one was new. Not a surprise. Certainly.
No, it wasn't a surprise because we knew Melinda divorced him over him hanging out with Epstein.
Yeah,
So
exactly. I do kind of feel bad for Melinda Gates now. I don't know. Maybe she's just as awful in all sorts of other evil ways. But she is in such an interesting position right now. And when I see her, there was a couple interviews that people did with her after this tranche of files. And I was looking at her kind of like, oh, Lord, help her out. This is crazy. I mean, it's crazy enough if you were Bill Gates. You deserve everything happening to you. But I don't know if we know if Melinda Gates really deserves the worst of it. Maybe she does. I don't know. At this point, it's hard to feel sorry for anybody in that class of people anywhere like near this thing. But what are you going to do? I don't know. God's in control.
Yep.
Yeah. I was trying to think. Something had come to my mind about the files. It went in one end, right out the other. I'll see if it comes back to me here. You know what I love is both the things you are sharing about your experience of the files coming out and simultaneously being totally clad in Canary Cry gear. It's a good look. If only we could get every person who was right about everything to start wearing Canary Cry gear. That would be pretty good PR. I think that'd be good.
Yeah, I was thinking, if I did a man on the street, I could totally, like, people would think I was on staff, out there.
Yeah, right. Canary Cry staff.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Oh, on a positive note, I don't know if anyone even cares. And it, who knows? But somebody had pointed out that a name that was not found in the Epstein files was Michael Jackson. So
the Michael Jackson stuff is interesting.
Yeah. So if there's any, Michael Jackson fans or, they think he was framed, all this stuff, because we know that people get accused of what the bad people are doing. And I don't know. I don't know anything, honestly. I hope I can meet him in heaven. I don't know.
Yeah. So that would be best case scenario, is if he had given his life the credit.
I love that his name was not in there.
Yeah. No. And it's interesting because over the past couple of years, there's been some talking about the Michael Jackson thing. We know now he was in this huge battle with the music industry. He was in this huge battle going on in the background, and this sort of set the stage for his conviction and set the stage for his death and things like this. And I have seen some rumblings recently of, I'll just say, a retelling of the Michael Jackson story, that he was, specifically sort of targeted, framed, the whole thing, because perhaps he was actually trying to stop this or trying to help someone who was a victim of this or something like that. I've not dug in fully myself. Could just be a, Michael Jackson, counter propaganda campaign. I don't know. But it's starting to feel like it's very possible that that entire thing was not what it seems. And honestly, just at a gut level, the fact that it was the biggest story in the history of mainstream propaganda news, that, he was accused of this and the whole thing. I mean, I was fairly young at the time, but like that was
huge.
It was the biggest thing in the world. Just at a gut level, the fact that that phase of human history was entirely focused and convinced on Michael Jackson being a bad guy does give me a gut reaction to maybe question it.
Yeah,
That's all I'll
absolutely.
say about that. I don't have many of the other details.
Yeah, and it was so mean. Um, and then the dude couldn't make a move. He couldn't the paparazzi would take pictures of his babies, and it was terrible.
Very, very difficult thing. If nothing else, a lesson that if the system wants to make your life horrible, it can do it in ways you can't even think of.
Um, wait, somebody Wohead Rex, Jermaine and Tito ended up in prison?
Tony Natola, Janet Jackson
I don't
thing,
know about any of
Jermaine,
that.
ending up in prison, etc. Yeah, I don't know who those people are, but
I mean, those are his brothers.
oh, are they?
Tito and Jermaine are his brothers, but I didn't know they ended up in prison.
Ah, interesting. I mean, the whole family, man. That's crazy. Well, goodness
Um,
gracious. Well, anything else? And I know last time we talked about what was going on in Minnesota. We don't need to talk about that, but if there's any updates you wanted to share with the Canarium or anything going on there, we could give them an update there. What do you think?
well, if I am to report to you from my Minnesota echo chamber,
Boots on the ground echo chamber. Love it. Let's go.
here's something that just happened today.
And it's interesting, and I ask because we're not actually seeing a whole lot of stuff from Minnesota right now. It's almost like the whole
Yeah,
thing kind of started getting covered up by
it's
Epstein and
quiet.
other news. I know there's like a car crash and stuff, but what do you got? You want me to put your screen up on stage here?
Yeah, it's just the tab.
Yeah, I'll put this up. The border. Okay. What do you got?
Okay, so the rest of it's behind a paywall, so I can only say a little bit, but Tom Homan's announcement that Operation Metro Surge would wind down. Governor Tim Walz said at a news conference that he has a deep sense of gratitude and a sense of pride in my fellow Minnesotans. And then Tom Homan made the announcement, and then he said, and Trump agrees that we should de-escalate ICE. And so everybody in the comments is like, yeah, right, we'll de-escalate when we actually see you de-escalate. Now,
talking about Minnesotans. Minnesota is our boots on the ground Minnesotans not buying it.
Well, there's two groups of Minnesotans over here, and 2 days ago, okay, so I live in a western suburb, and 2 days ago, I'm driving home, and it's right about the time the buses are letting the elementary school kids out. And I'm noticing that there's parents lining the streets. And I'm like, well, that's sad. These guys are really scared to get their kids home. And anyways, then I saw our local police department, vehicles circulating too. So I go home, then I hear a shot. Well, I thought it was a shot, and it turns out it wasn't. It was like a transformer or something. What a crazy coincidence. So I walk out my back door, and there's people in green vests running down my alley. Now, I know my neighbors. These are not people that I know. These are not my neighbors. These are people in green vests.
Green
And
vests,
I'm
like flak jackets, like law
no,
enforcement.
just fluorescent visibility.
The reflective yellow vests. Okay.
And so like we talked about before, there's groups online that are watching out for ICE movements, and whenever they see ICE, they'll group up to wherever the sighting is. So I decide to walk down there because people are running through the alley. I'm like, was that a gunshot? And the first people who heard it were like, yeah, we think so. So we go towards where we thought the gunshot was at the end of the block, and there's all these people over there. I don't see ICE. I don't see anything. I just see a lot of people. And then I see one of my neighbors, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? Because he's standing out there waiting for his kids to get off the bus. And he's like, well, I'm like, are these parents? And he's like, no, they're observers and responders. And I'm like, responders. So what I'm picking up on is Minnesotans who live where we live, we don't like those people around. The ones who are online responding to our ICEs. But what my neighbor told me was there were 2 ICE vehicles in front of his aunt's house 2 blocks over. Now we're a complete subdivision. We don't have any, besides the school, there's it's just houses. So there was 2 ICE vehicles. Now I'm seeing police vehicles circulate. Somebody said that wasn't a gunshot, that was a transformer or something. So ICE was actually there 2 blocks from us. But here, the dumb thing is, why are they sitting along a bus route waiting for kids to get off the bus? Like, they're waiting for the parents to come and pick up their kids. So this is the thing that Minnesotans are like, they're busting parents and leaving kids to fend for themselves. It's
Yeah, there was that story. So the one story that got a lot of play that that I think people were, let's say, discussing the details of. First of all, I think that's very interesting. Yeah, I was gonna say, I wanted to hear what you said first, but the green reflective vest thing, at least from previous organized protests and things like this was the uniform of what they would call legal observers, but were the people who were basically bussed in to various Black Lives Matter protests or things. This is how you identify the quote unquote legal observers. They would wear these vests. Sometimes they would wear like a green helmet. So I think that's interesting that there's so many of them running down your alleyway. So when it comes to, I'll tell you this, from an outsider's perspective, there was one particular story that I think needed more conversation, but of course, conversation isn't good for the plan. So you try to avoid it as much as possible. But there's the famous story of what the headlines called ICE arrests 5-year-old boy, right? You remember this one? ICE arrests.
Oh yeah, this was a big one. Yeah. And the dad was running away, as it turns out.
Right. And for those who haven't heard it, the story, the headline was ICE arrests a 5-year-old boy. Isn't this horrible? What are they doing? This kind of thing. But what you read those same articles, and what you learn is the ICE rolls up on a fellow who was, in their words, a criminal of some kind. I don't know the details. Now, he could have been an actual criminal. He could have been criminal just because he's there illegally. I don't know. I'm sure that detail would matter in a broader conversation. However, they pull up on the guy, and the guy is walking down the street with his 5-year-old son. And when he sees ICE coming, he runs and leaves his son standing in the snow. And so now some ICE go chase the guy, but now they're left with this 5-year-old kid who's just kind of standing there alone in the snow. And so, of course, just to give it from this perspective, of course, ICE is going to stay with this child or take the child with them. They're not going to leave a 5-year-old in the snow alone when his dad ran off. And so they take the kid to McDonald's. They buy him a cheeseburger. They don't know where the mom is. They don't know what's going on.
I thought they just brought him back to the school.
From what I read, and maybe I'm reading 2 different stories, and I'm totally open to being, corrected on this. But from what I read, they had him. I think school was out, which is, maybe why he was walking with his dad home. But they didn't know they didn't know who the mom was. They didn't know the dad. Either they didn't have the dad, or the dad wasn't telling them or something. So they took the kid to get a hamburger at McDonald's, and then they take him back to the station because they can't leave a kid in McDonald's. And after, whatever it was, 10 hours or something, they were able to find out who the kid's mom was, return the kid, something like that. Still not a very nice story, admittedly, that even that dad was put in a situation where he says, okay, I can stay here and get taken away from my child, or I can run and swoop
So
back.
yeah, and a lot of comments were made about what kind of person would run, but putting
so
that
that's
in the
fine.
context of
Yeah.
these 2 ICE cars were parked outside a bus route at 2:30 in the afternoon by my house,
Yeah.
waiting to separate parents from their children.
Yeah, and that's the other part of my question, and maybe we don't know, or maybe we for sure do
I
know.
don't think you all get the same stuff in your feed as Minnesotans get. I don't
I
think
would
they're
say,
telling you, because like I was talking to somebody in North Carolina who's never seen a nice person before, and he thinks they're knights in shining armor. He has not seen the videos where they don't even ask for your ID and tear you out of your car and throw you on the ground. And
yeah,
again, those are the videos that they're pumping to Minnesotans. So this is how
yeah.
we think they are.
Those are
But
also the
did you
those are
not
also
like
the videos.
there was a
Those
viral video about a 17-year-old boy who is Mexican. Like there are 2 17-year-olds, or no, 2 Mexicans employees for Target, and they ripped him out of Target. Obviously, they're
I saw
legal
that
if they're working at Target. Okay, so you saw that.
Well,
Okay, because
he
I don't know
yeah.
what y'all are seeing.
No. Yeah, so actually, I mean, that's one part of the thing, and I don't wanna get too far off of my question about those
Okay.
cars, but, personally, again, I can't speak for anybody's feed, but I do see all of the videos, and they get violent, they're very chaotic, they're not very fun to watch, there's not a whole lot of civility in anybody involved in these videos. I think my instinct would say that because that narrative of ICE are horrible Nazis, we actually get that narrative through the normal sort of mainstream way. These are the videos they're playing on the news. These are the videos that are sort of default. Now, sometimes if I see it, a spooky video posted on the X feed, the person who posted it may be like, this is what I voted for, like have this kind of other attitude towards the video. So I think for the most part, the message is available to everybody that ICE are Nazis, and this is the case. My one question about the ICE cars parked along the bus route is because there were also so many stories of the ICE hunters, the people in the Signal group. And, I think since we talked to you, there's been like all the roadblocks, and the ICE hunters are asking for people's IDs, and the ICE people are not letting people into certain neighborhoods. The ICE hunters are, of course, taking everybody's license plates. There's
Well,
been
and the
about
residents are getting sick of it. So
yeah.
there's like this
Well, I
divide
figured that
now.
would happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, but then we hear those stories, and I guess my impression is that those are the guys who are kind of bussed in. Those are kind of the professionals. Hey, we're gonna, because it's not fun for the neighborhood. Like they take all the trash cans and the pallets and they build a roadblock, and they are standing there with guns. And for somebody to drive into even their own neighborhood, they have to show these random people their IDs, or they get like yelled at. It's like
that's worse than ICE. Like,
right? Yeah, exactly.
Really? Yeah.
And so because we know all of that weird stuff has been going on, there's also been cases where the ICE hunters will follow a car and block them, and start yelling at the people, and the people are not ICE. They're just people maybe with
I just saw that today.
Yeah, something like that. So we start seeing those kinds of things. And so we know, and we know because humans are humans, but we now have documented evidence of ICE hunters mistaking cars for ICE just because whatever
putting them up on their watch thing, and telling everybody to
So we're seeing a lot of that. So and so I don't know if you personally saw something, or if this is just was told to you. So when I hear there was a couple of cars parked in a neighborhood along a bus route, the first question I ask is, well, were they really ice? Did we see the guys? Did they come out? Did they have vests? Did they have guns? Was it a squad car of some kind? Or was it just two cars that nobody recognized, sort of parked on the side of the road, and they got suspicious, and then maybe they ran the license plate in their license plate reader? I don't know if they still have that. I thought maybe it had gotten taken down. I don't know. So, whether or not, if you personally saw like squad cars or ice guys, or if this was kind of the green vest types being like, there's two cars over there, we're very suspicious of them, so we're, just to be safe, we're going to blow the whistles and make a thing.
Well, okay, so my neighbor that I talk to lives right across the alley. Our kids are the same age. He said that the two cars were in front of his aunt's house. Now, his aunt lives 2 blocks away. So that's the report that I got. Now, there were 3 or 4 St. Louis Park Police squads circulating the area. So that makes me believe, because our police, like Minneapolis police, are their own thing. Our suburban police are awesome. And they're on top of things. So I don't think, but in our little town, there's only 4 squads on a shift, like, in the afternoon. So to have all of them there circulating, I tend to believe that there was something going on. Or I don't think the squads would have been there.
Like in support of ICE or not?
No, just keeping an eye on things, making sure, like, I personally feel like they're watching out for us. They're gonna make sure, like, they're just making sure absolute chaos doesn't break out.
Yeah,
Unlike the Minneapolis police and unlike the Hennepin County Sheriff's Department, they did not respond to anything until very late. But our police are making sure that all, chaos isn't breaking loose. And they've done a very good job, because there's been other skirmishes at, little strip malls and stuff, and like all of the police in the area will come and be on top of it. So I would say they are a de-escalating presence. Then combine that with all the green vests I saw, and there were cars. Like, I was pretty amazed. I was like, I've never seen this many cars parked along the streets when the buses are coming. This is weird. So yeah, I personally did not see the ice cars. My neighbor said he saw them. So
yeah, and I could see, just to make sure I communicate sort of every perspective of this that I see. I certainly see that even if there wasn't actually ice there, it seems that the vibe, especially when you have a bunch of outsiders coming in and doing weird stuff that, like, they're not your people, but they're doing stuff, and you hope they're being good, you hope they're there for the good reason, but it's just kind of weird that this like hyper local information exchange you kind of have no choice but to if not totally believe it, like, take it into your worldview. Like, if there are a bunch of people in your neighborhood and they do say, hey, we're here because ICE is going to take your children off of a bus, like, of course you're going to be like, okay, yes, please make sure they don't take my children off of a bus. That's a good thing. And you're living your life, you got to go.
Well, they want the parents. They the parents who are coming to pick up their kids.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but like, if people are there and they're telling you that they're here to help you and save you, I could see how even just in order to live your life, even if you're not focused on this, even if you're kind of like, hoping it goes away or just things get settled, you're still having to go to the grocery store. You're still having to hang out in your house and call into a podcast. You're still having to go to work. You're still having to do these things. And so if another human next to you is like, hey, I'm here to help you, there's ice guys over there, don't worry, we got you covered, it's actually a kind of a good feeling to be like, okay, I hope you're right. Please protect me and my neighbors. And then really the next thing you do is you're cooking dinner and you're doing your thing.
I wish it even was like that, because when I walk down there, okay, people who live in my neighborhood, we just talk to each other. We just
Right.
share information. So I went up and started talking to some of these green vests. They were unfriendly and were just
Totally.
kind of like, "Oh, well," and you
I've
know, we're
heard,
not forthcoming. And I'm like, you don't live here. You need to go. And
yeah,
that's what I'm hearing more and more. And especially from, um, there was a black woman who posted something and she's like, you know what? We don't need your white savior attitude. And they're really, I think I'm starting to get in the zeitgeist that there's this white, people are turning on the white liberal women. Like,
totally.
you guys have a Jesus complex and we don't want you. We don't need a white savior.
Right.
And, you know, from what I saw, I'm like, yeah, you definitely don't. And
Sounds
these
like they're
people are,
wearing out their welcome.
well, yeah, and they tried to go into North Minneapolis, and that stuff did not fly with the North Minneapolis crowd. They're like, you get. We don't
Who,
want any of your shenanigans.
who's
And
the
that's,
North?
you know, predominantly black neighborhood. They're
Okay.
like, no, get.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, I think that's what's very interesting. Now, so last time we spoke, I had mentioned that it was new news that Tom Homan was coming in. They were going to start pulling agents out. They pulled 700 agents out. Trump had started to communicate that it's time to wind down and get out. And that hadn't necessarily maybe reached the streets. It feels like, if I were to kind of like maybe craft a timeline of the past week, we do know that they pulled some agents out. We do know that they committed to not doing the types of raids that we had seen before, the really kind of ugly ones. Maybe they're still happening here and there, but that's what they had said, right? And here we are a week later, and it's interesting because now it really does seem like the green vests, the ones that are bussed in, kind of are starting to wear out their welcome. And I wonder if there's this weird tension between the out-of-towners who are deployed here for a purpose to do a thing, but they're finding less action than maybe they had before, or maybe that they'd hoped for. And so they're getting kind of itchy. And because they're there, it's the only reason they're there is to do this operation. And if there's less operations going on, it kind of start feeling superfluous. Like they start feeling like, well, we can't just be here and do nothing. So we got to do something. We got to go over here. We got to make a show here. We got to go over here. And then to hear that to hear that they sound irritated, like the green vests sound unpolite, and they sound,
definitely, yeah, they're definitely not sounding like your neighbors.
they're sounding like someone who went here for a reason to have some exciting fight the police action, but they're not getting a lot of that. So they're kind of like, why am I even here? This is, and we've seen, and I wonder if this is like what you experience. Maybe it is, could be anything. But we've seen, in the absence of more ICE action that they can go into and less ICE on the street, that's when they started like asking residents for their driver's license. That's when they started pulling over just regular residents. Like they have kind of become the monsters a little bit that they came to fight.
Well, and what was that fake gunshot I heard? We still don't know what that was.
Yeah, good question. Yeah, I mean, an exploding transformer, I don't necessarily right off the bat believe that, because if a transformer exploded, then everybody's lights would be out.
Sure.
But who knows? Who knows what that is? I don't know. Well, that's very interesting. Thank you so much for sharing the boots on the ground experience. I'll tell you what, it is really hard to find some boots on the ground Minneapolis people in a setting like this, where the goal is not to rile people up on either side. You know, we're not trying to rile up the pro ICE, right, so that X users will like the video or whatever. And my goal at least is not to rile up the ICE hunters and the left, and very few opportunities in this world to actually just kind of sit and talk about it. So thank you for your willingness to do that.
Well, yeah, and prayerfully this will be de-escalated. I think we all had a feeling, yeah, this will pass. We lived through George Floyd. We lived through,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you Minneapolis people, you've had it like the hardest in the past.
did you see that Babylon Bee thing?
No. What is it?
They put up their little dank meme that said something about everyone wishes Minneapolis could be normal for like 5 minutes.
That's
because
kind of funny.
yeah, no one wishes it more than us. Like, why? What is here? Okay, so like, when you moved out into the wilderness, and people, millennials in particular, started homesteading, and it was, and I honestly, I'm like, I should go. We should just pack up and go get some land somewhere.
The call is strong. The call is strong.
Yeah, because, and then I said to myself, we don't live by hurricanes. We don't live by earthquakes. I don't see them burning us out. Like, we're not tornado land. What can they do to us? We'll just stay here. We're in Minneapolis. They don't care about us. And that was a bad call. That was a bad call.
Well, God bless you, Faye. Thank you so much for calling in again. Really appreciate your perspective on things, and you're a fun gal to chat to.
Yes, much fun was had.
Yeah. Any other anything else on your mind before we close up here?
No.
Okay. Easy peasy. We got it all out. That's great. All right. Well, the rest of the Canarium will be praying for you, Faye, and for your family and your neighborhood, of course. And yeah, we all want the same thing, which is the whole mess to settle down there, bring some sanity, God's sanity to the situation. So God bless you, and we'll be praying for you.
Okay. Thanks, Canarians.
There we go. Beautiful. What I really love about talking to Faye is you can see in the background, you can see her living room television playing, and it's got the podcast live playing. She can see herself on her own TV, and I can see myself on her own TV. Very fun. I'm, this is so random, but apparently there's more people than I thought who actually watch the show on full televisions, which is not something that I had really considered before, but it's a fun way to do that. All right. I think that's it, folks. I think that's basically what we got. Trying to think if there's anything important to announce. Canary Cry text message alert system. Somebody texted, who is this? Monica. Monica. Here's a picture of an emu that Monica painted. And Monica says, here's my emu. I named him Bernie because his feathers are crazy. Acrylic on canvas, painted by me, Monica. There you go. Showing off the emu painting by Monica there. Very beautiful, crazy hair emu staring right down the camera with a nice pastel palette in the background. Thank you very much for that, Monica. And of course, we are a value for value show, folks, which means we don't take any money from corporations, commies, cartels. In fact, we're entirely supported by our producers, and our producers are you. Our producers are Monica, who came in with her talent to create this beautiful emu for the show. Look at that, creating the culture. And of course, no advertisements, no platform partnerships or anything like that. And so if this show brought any value to your life, And if it's brought value in the past, do you want it to bring value in the future? The only way we can keep doing it is if people say, hey, I'm going to become a producer. I'm going to take responsibility for keeping this show alive. You can go to canarycry.support to learn all about it and support the show there. I don't have any producers to announce here right now, but we will be back on Monday. Oh, you know what we need to do? We need to play Feeding Ducks. There we go. There we go. We'll be back on Monday with a news talk. Have a wonderful weekend. Survive as well as you can. Pray peace on everybody, everywhere. And patience. Remember, patience is something you do. You got to choose it. You got to do it. And that patience produces endurance, which, Lord help you, is exactly what we all need to get through this craziness. Make good choices, everybody, and pray for me. 8 emu eggs within striking distance of hatching. Only one of the emu eggs. I can hear little chirps in the background. Right after this, I'm going to go do my daily stethoscoping. See if I can hear any more chirping and any more eggs. That's case scenario. By next Thursday, we'll have some baby emus to show off. What is that? That'll be the 19th. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Canary Clubhouse. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, look outside the cage.